Okay, we're in beautiful historic Anacostia at Sapodilas, and we just left the opening of Sweet Tooth, and we're going to pay a visit to another business across the street called Grounded. So I have a few minutes for questions. Any questions?
One over here.
Any questions?
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor Felicia Ashley, ABC7. Obviously, we're introduced to Samantha today with this restaurant and this opening. Aside from also what it does in terms of bringing history here and business here, knowing just culturally what this is bringing to this area, how does that make you feel with the programming?
Well, I think it's a fantastic outcome for the Food Access Fund. In fact, it joins a cadre of businesses that have opened using that funding. It's an established business that has another location in nearby Prince George's County, and I think that it is definitely filling a gap in cuisine available. So we're very excited for them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mayor? Tom Fitzgerald from Fox 5.
Uh-huh.
I won't read you the social media post from the president, but I'm sure you're aware of it with the homeless encampments. Again, I know you addressed this last presser you had. Does D.C. need to push an effort to clear homeless encampments?
We always clear homeless encampments. We always do. And we do it according to protocols that have worked in the district that won't have the effect of just moving people around, but trying to get them housed.
So let me ask the question. What doesn't the president understand about many of these homeless encampments being on federal property?
That would be a question you have to direct to them.
Have you brought it to their attention?
Yeah, they are aware that many homeless encampments are on federal property, and we're still here to help. So we're not saying it's you, it's not us, because it would take both of us, because they don't really have the capacity that I'm aware of to help get people into shelter or to housing. And that has to happen, because you don't want to have a situation where they say, well, we don't want it in our building, and people show up in tents in a neighborhood. So we want people to get in shelter, which we have available shelter, so let me be clear about that, and then be on their way to housing. Keep in mind that we're talking about people who have a lot of hurdles and a lot of resistance to coming inside to safe housing.
Mayor, what specific actions did you take or agree to take in response to the directive from the Trump administration to clear the encampments? And in what way was the directive communicated to you?
So what do you mean? And what is the directive?
They issued a directive.
Those are your words. I think what the social media post said is that they notified us. And I got a call from a staffer that said that there was a encampment, and we don't know how long it had been there or how it had developed. Sometimes what happens is if one encampment closes, another one grows, and we think that may have happened in that case.
Which specific place are you referring to?
I don't have the address off the top of my head.
Did you make agreements to?
I don't have to make an agreement.
So what did you say?
I said, thanks for the notice. We'll take care of it.
Are you worried at all about where to draw a line on if the Trump administration's, publicly ordering your administration to take
They're
action
not
on
ordering
city
us
property?
to do anything. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mayor Bowser, can you tell us whether or not you will ramp up I know you have several encampments already slated for cleanup. Are you going to ramp that effort up in response to the White House?
Mark, we've already have a ramped up effort. We already do. And we operate on kind of a schedule of notice because that's what has worked for us. And that is already underway. That's not something that we generally publicize or in advance, but we already have a schedule underway.
Do you plan on changing protocols, DHS protocols, in the way they make notification, post?
It depends on what we encounter. That's how we've always done it. So we're not changing anything. We always evaluate situations and the cases that they present.
I'm just wondering if, the Supreme Court recently ruled on the way jurisdictions can criminalize homelessness. Do you plan on does the district plan on changing their posture because of that and possibly forcing people out who don't? I know you say you have room for people
We
in
do.
shelters, but the problem is they often don't want to go to shelters.
Mm-hmm.
And as you just pointed out, it's like whack-a-mole, my word, but they pop back up again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you plan on doing anything to compel people either to arrest people if they continue to do this, or to FD12 them if they do this?
Mark, those options for if we feel like someone needs psychiatric care, they're already at our disposal, but they're temporary. FD12s, by definition, is a temporary hold on someone, and they can return. What we have found in working with people is repeated contact and trust building until they come inside, and we have that we have those measures at our disposal. We do, however, and you know this well, have directed closures of encampments, and they usually have to do with safety. Encampments become very unsafe. There's a lot of criminal activity, unfortunately, in a lot of encampments. Sometimes it has to do with interference of the use of the space or the sidewalk. So there are a lot of reasons that we have to intervene in encampments. And the overarching reason is it's not the best place for people to get stabilized. And we want to encourage them to get into housing, shelter, get stabilized, and get into housing.
We
Yeah.
heard from people at one of the encampments on East Street that city crews appeared there around 10 o'clock last night and told them to be gone by noon tomorrow. Did you speed up any encampment clearing specifically over there in response to the directive?
It depends. I don't know why you're using that word, because you
Clear them,
because
so
you made it up.
Okay.
You made it up. So you can continue to use it, and I'm going to continue not to respond to that. Any other questions?
the notice that you must clear them. Did you speed up any encampment clearings in response to the notice on East Street?
We responded to the location identified.
Can I ask a word 8 question?
Sure.
Ron points out correctly, we are here, we should ask. It's been a month now since the council seat has been vacant. At the time, both council members, at-large council members, you also offered help to people here if they had issues. What has that month been like, and are you able to still help people with any requests they have of government services?
My job hasn't changed, Tom. I'm the mayor. I was the mayor a month ago. I'm going to be the mayor for some time, okay? So my job hasn't changed. We have stepped up, of course, making sure we're seeing if there are any gaps that the council member's office left open. But I continue to have my presence of mokers. I have several agencies who are here. DHCD is across the street, the DC Department of Health. We have a community services center up the street on Martin Luther King as well. And we're opening businesses left and right. So our job is unchanged. But we know that a lot of people called on their council member's office. So I of course, tell them to call us, because if they're calling for service, the call is going to come to us anyway. So just call us.
Mayor Bowser, any comment about the notice to Chancellor Farabee and DC Public Schools about the investigation into problems with helping students, most vulnerable students?
You know, I was notified of that yesterday. I was actually quite surprised about it. We hadn't gotten any inquiry, at least in my office. I'll circle around with my whole team to see if they had, but that was news to us. We think I will look a little bit more. Honestly, I haven't had a chance to dig into it deep as to what the complaint is. But as you know, we're very proud of how we're serving kids. Our families are flocking to DC Public Schools, and our children are achieving. So we will look for any questions that they have about how we serve our children who have special needs. Unlike a lot of places, we fund kids differently based on need. And that has been our approach to making sure the resources that they need are in schools. Okay, thank you.